Right, here we go.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the afternoon session of this wonderful Digital Marketing Europe 2022. We're in the powerful brand session, and 74 people have already joined the session. Generally speaking, we've been getting about 130, 140 people, so I would expect that number to go up. We're talking to Dimitri Gärtner. Sorry, excuse me. My eyesight is terrible. Dimitri, welcome.
Hi, thank you for hosting me. Hi, everybody. I'm Dimitri, co-founder, CEO of Raymond. We started in Berlin, now active in several countries. So I'd like to tell you a bit more about Internet of Screens.
Brilliant. Yeah, I mean, you're active in 10 countries, 100 employees. I mean, I was saying that's, for me, pretty big company growing very fast. The Internet of Screens is, I mean, from what you're saying, pushing internet onto screens that we're not used to. And you were giving the example of a pub, a jazz pub in particular.
Absolutely. So, the internet is not limited to smartphones and to desktops only. I would like to prove you that there is a huge opportunity in the world. And yeah,
Brilliant.
you will see much more later.
Well, we just had a 5-minute chat, and I'm already convinced that there's a huge opportunity going on here. I'm terribly excited. And just a reminder to the audience, this is being recorded. The recording will be sent to you after the event, so you can watch it again. And if you have any questions, pop them into the Q&A. We'll have a 5-10 minute Q&A session at the end. So questions about Dimitri's topic would be most welcome. The Internet of Screens. This is going to be amazing. Please do stick with us, and off you go. Can you share your screen, Dimitri, and you can start your delightful presentation, and I will be quiet for 35 minutes, which is a challenge for me. Good luck.
Okay, just give me a signal wherever everything is now on screen.
Yep, everything's on screen, and we can see your video, and it looks delightful with the London bus driving by.
Wonderful. So hi, everybody. As I said, I'm Dimitri. I'm co-founder, CEO at Frayman. Frayman is a new tech company on the horizon around ad tech and advertising. So we actually found a great opportunity that nobody's talking about. We call that concept the Internet of Screens. So let me guide you a bit through how we came to this idea. Most of you might think Internet of Screens. I might know Internet of Things, but not Internet of Screens. So, and this is for a good reason, because most of the marketers nowadays, they focus on mobile, they focus on desktop, but there is more. There's more space, more digital space for advertising and especially for the internet to grow. So if you look at the evolution of humans, in every state of each individual, they thought they came already to the end of the best technology, right? If you look at the guy with a weapon, right, he thought he is already at the end of the coolest technology. And if you look at, let's say, the Homo sapiens with a smartphone, he also thinks this is the end of the best, coolest technology. Of course, there is a continuous evolution ongoing. And this evolution is not just happening to humans, right? It's also happening to PCs. If you, for example, look back the last 40 years, computers, PCs have also developed. Kind of same concept. There's always a mouse, there's always a keyboard and a screen. Same happened to the phones. So with the last 40 years, of course, a bit clunky 40 years ago. Nowadays, cool iPhones, smart, touch. So this is not the only two devices that are connected to the internet, as you might know, because there's also another device that's connecting pretty often nowadays to the internet. It's the TV. So also the TV didn't really change a lot in shape, maybe in size, it got thinner. So if you look over all the three different devices, you will see that the evolution of quantity is massive, like 2 billion devices on average on all the categories, or even a bit more. And most of the people consider internet to happen on the left two devices, right? So we're always using the desktop, we're always using the smartphone, and of course we're also using the TV, but we don't consider it as part of the internet. Especially if you would compare them from connectivity, there's nothing worse, right? So they're all kind of either Wi-Fi, 5G, or 6G, whatever will come. And they are all populated with apps, like there are app stores, as you have them on the desktop side and also on the smartphone side. But it's a bit less already on the TV side. So TVs have maybe Android TV, Fire TV. And this is a very, very important point I want to make. Because if you look on the B2C side of apps, we all know a lot of B2C apps, for example, shopping apps, social apps, streaming apps. But now here comes the point. Here's the turning moment where we found a new opportunity. If you look on the B2B side of apps, right, you have the success apps, Slack, Zoom on the desktop, and let's say podcasting, Drive, Influencer to sell on mobile. But what is the B2B app on screens? And people don't actually know what is a B2B app, and this is a great opportunity. I would like to tell you more about that Internet of Screen opportunity. If you think deeper, what is actually a B2B screen? That's a business TV, right? So what we are talking about is a screen in a business environment. Of course, everybody knows that screen in a conference room, but yeah, there's no app, right? In most cases, you're connecting your desktop to it, HDMI cable or any other AirPlay solution. But if you look also on other screens in malls and supermarkets and public venues, these are also TVs. But very often, it's not really connected to the internet. Maybe it's running an SD card and shows some promotion content, right? But it's not part of the internet, not considered yet. You have a lot of screens nowadays in window shoppings. Some companies have their own digital signage software, but most of digital what? I've never heard about that software. Now, I would like to enlighten you and your perspective about this new opportunity. Introducing Framen. So Framen is an app for smart TVs, which is certainly made for B2B. It's a bit like YouTube, but made for B2B purposes. So if you open the app right away and you connect it to your dashboard, obviously businesses are managing the screens, right? You can do it from the desktop or you can do it from the mobile and upload your business content, right? But what you also could get is advertising commercials on those screens. But I'm going to tell you later a bit more about that. Of course, it's running through a cloud technology. So we can connect many screens through many countries. And that's actually pretty cool. So tell me more. What else is possible with those screens? Because if they're part of the internet, you could literally run cool content and use cases that are standard in the internet, but not yet in the real world. So what we're collecting is high quality content. So we're partnering up with the leading publishers and leading content providers and giving those locations access to this content. For example, if they want to run markets and financial information from Business Insider, they can subscribe to that channel and push it to the screens. So now they will have a mixed content from their own location plus external news. The interesting part for the marketing perspective is we know exactly which screen is in which location, and we help marketers to reach, in that case, for example, co-workings and co-working members to show a nice GoPath offer for a delivery service, 50% off in that case, and target slightly people by geo and by venue and also by context. I'll tell you more later about that. So here you see how that loop looks like. And it's literally not yet there. So you might see some screens out there in the world, and you might wonder how big actually this opportunity is. Let me give you the math for that. Samsung is selling globally 100 million screens every year. 50% is going to commercial. So every year, another 50 million is coming to the market, is coming to public venues. And nowadays, especially with the cookie policies, GDPR, and getting your brand out to people, it's not so easy. We're offering here a new solution to reach audiences. So with that high quality content, it may be football content across many screens. We can find for big advertisers sponsor packages, which will look like this, for example. But we also can place your smaller brand or your startup brand very close to that great eye-catching content. And all of us, we all use TikTok, we all use Instagram in order to find cool, inspiring content. And that's what Framen is about, bringing cool content, getting the attention, and placing the ad without any pressure to the viewer. You cannot skip the ad, but it's also not really disturbing you, right? So now comes the actual question, how can brands find those screens? And here comes a revolution. We found a new way to target those screens to place the advertisement in fitness studios and hotels, in cafes, restaurants, universities, and many more locations. So you could, as an advertiser, could be a fashion brand, could be a smaller campaign, place it either on one screen, on all the screens, on the whole building, or all over the city or cross country. And this is in order to find the right people. For example, you have co-working spaces where you have decision makers, or you have premium hotels where you might have a bit more affluent audience, or you have just budget hotels and hostels where you can find younger travelers, go into example gas stations to find automotive interested people, gyms where you find audiences that are interested in sport. So the right moment and the context of the location will help you to find the right audience in the right moment. Today, Fremen has over 65,000 screens in over 4,700 cities, and every day new screens pop up. Get the app and go online. Before we approve the screen to receive commercials, we do a small check. So the location has to tell us where the location is, how many people are in front of that screen on average, what type of audience they are, and of course, prove us that this screen also exists. So we really care to make sure to know where are the screens, to reduce the ad fraud, and also to make sure that there are no fake people and no fake bots consuming marketing budgets. So all these screens are connected via Fremen. So coming back to the topic, how can I actually access those screens? So we'll make it very simple for you guys. Through the Fremen Ads Manager. Everybody knows how to use the Facebook Ads Manager. Everybody knows how to use the LinkedIn Ads Manager and TikTok Ads Manager, Google Ads Manager. So why not to have a same type of ads manager for you guys to either do a local branding campaign or a massive national campaign? We say it's easier than making an omelette. And in order to prove you that creating a campaign in the Fremen Ads Manager is easier than making an omelette, would like to compete with making an omelette, right? So on the left side, you will see how to create a campaign. On the right side, how to make an omelette. You can select different type of venues. For example, in the ads manager, you want to get co-workings, hotels. You set a budget, start date, end date. Upload your creative. It can be vertical or horizontal, and you're ready to go. Well, the omelette might still be not ready. It was a bit fast, but it's pretty similar to standard as you would know from other ads manager. My team has given a lot of master classes already yesterday and today, but I will go also a bit deeper in a second into the ads manager. So the question would be, where is your targeting? Where is your geolocation, and how much do we cover already in Europe or globally? Well, Fremen is already active and the screens are live in around 15, 16 countries right now. And it's changing rapidly because 1 year ago, Fremen has been just in one country. So 1 year ago, we've been in Germany as a tech startup who started in Berlin. And we introduced this concept to hotel chains. Some of the hotel chains, they are active in multiple countries. We're introducing that to co-working chains. WeWork is one of our premium partners, which offers us access to their screens and their members in many countries. So literally, you could say you can expand the inventory from London to Moscow, and from Stockholm even down to Dubai and Abu Dhabi. You see, there's more density on the western side of Europe, and I notice already there's a lot of Eastern European attendees here in the conference. But don't worry, this inventory is growing rapidly. So every week, every month, there are thousands of new screens going live with Fremen. So for your campaign, for your customers campaign, or for your startup campaign, You might even already find screens on the west side of Europe, or very soon also on the eastern side. However, we will not be limited only to campaigns in Europe. There are some markets that are very important also for us. And we also had very cool, interesting campaigns on other continents. But let's say this is the focus markets for now. If you go underneath, not every screen is just a screen inside of a bar, right, or a coffee shop. There are a lot of famous brands working together with Bremen, offering their screens and using our app. Among them, we have, for example, the A&O hostel, which is more budget on the hotel side, but also the Grand Hyatt hotels, the 5-star premium hotels. Now imagine you have a luxury product, you have maybe a premium service, or you have a B2B software. They want to show in front of decision makers, managers, C-level. We could help you to bring the message much closer to their eyes. They might not even spend so much time on Instagram and other platforms, and they might not even search for your product, right? But they still might need your service, right? So among these hotels, we also have on the business segment the co-workings. So what type of audience we would have in co-workings? For example, you have audiences between 25 and 55. They're working for the leading companies in the world, right? Who is member of WeWork? Microsoft is member, Facebook is member, Amazon, even TikTok is sitting inside of WeWork. So for employer branding, recruiting campaigns, software services, automations, any type of agency services that you would like to show, obviously would be more than welcome. But I will show you more type of campaigns very soon. We have a lot of malls already, banks, even banks work with Bremen. So they're offering the screens inside of the venues or outside, the screens that are showing to the outside, to the streets. Gas stations, we just announced 2 weeks ago a very exclusive partnership with the Shell gas stations. They actually have really massive big screens, like almost 2-meter big screens, 85-inch, high-class, outdoor resistant. So even on those screens, if you have a local campaign or bigger branding campaign, you can reach people that are even willing to pay a bit more to fuel up the car. So I will not go through all the different venues, but you already see it's behind every screen might be a very interesting audience. So in general, it's a stream. So on these screens, it's a stream similar like LinkedIn or similar like Instagram, where the content gets assembled in real time. On the left side, you might get some cool content, football news streamed in. Then you might get a commercial like food delivery, Gorillas or GoPuff or you name it, Get Here. But also the location has the option to push own content. For example, they have an image film of the co-working. Each of them is like different size. Some are 10 seconds, some are 60 seconds, 20 seconds. It depends how fast the content should go through, right? But in general, we also recommend to have the commercials being around 10 seconds, because this is an optimal time spent in front of the elevator or getting a coffee, or spinning the wheel in gyms. So this is kind of more the standard, but it can in some cases be a bit longer also. So let's start local. Let's assume you don't have such a big budget. And that's actually the biggest problem of big campaigns that run outdoor. They're very expensive. So we flip the coin and we make it super cheap to grow your brand in the right audience. So speak locally to your audience. And many of you guys will definitely ask, hey, how can I actually measure that? Because people cannot click, people cannot interact, they cannot comment, they cannot like, but that's just the half of the story. If you have a really cool offer, and this offer is relevant to your audience, and you have done a bit of A/B testing and finding the right audience on Freeman, we highly advise you, for example, to use our QR code feature. It's integrated in the Ads Manager. So you turn on the QR code feature, you introduce your landing page, and you can select where to place the QR code. So some people of you might be very skeptical, like who is using QR codes? Well, on the one side, unfortunately, Corona and lockdowns have proven and have shown to us how to use QR codes pretty massively. Like there's no excuse anymore to use QR codes, right? But what we also see through hundreds and hundreds of campaigns, that if your creative is appealing and has a good call to action, your audience is responding. It will respond to this offer. QR code is one example how you can measure it. For example, here we have Timeout, a very cool local services provider for UK and London, local businesses. And just with 60,000 impressions, they got around 2,000 QR code scans. And the people were also purchasing, for example, dinner vouchers or other reservations on events. So around about 3% conversion, 50% CTR. These are very strong, massive numbers. However, I don't want to convince you that Framen is a better performance channel. That's not the story. But if you combine a branding activity and you actually want people really to see what you do and not to skip your ad, and also get a multiple touch points every day while they come to work, get a coffee, go back home, they will have eyeball contacts with your product and with your service. And on top, you can A/B test with several creatives very easily the performance of your creatives. Some of our customers are a bit more global brands, and they want to spread their content worldwide. Let's take this commercial. Porsche is, for example, one of our global advertisers. They ran this campaign, which is a show running on YouTube. So they were pushing a sneak preview on two countries, which was Germany and UK, in over 120 locations, among them co-working, premium hotels, premium gyms, and they wanted to push more awareness to that season that was running on YouTube. They received 3 million views on YouTube. And they also have proven that a much higher female rate was watching the videos than in average. So around 40%, thanks to Framen and thanks to their marketing push, was now female audience. And the average they had maybe 10, 15%. And this is also important. This was part also of their marketing strategy to push that to audiences that might be in the future to Porsche. But who else is customer with Framen? Well, a lot of food and beverage brands, among them, for example, Fused, Coca-Cola, but startups like GoPuff. You see also on the fashion beauty side, Tommy Hilfiger. So there are a lot of different global brands that already trust Framen. They trust this way how they can reach their audiences. Very fast, very flexible, programmatic, but also with A/B testing, smaller budgets, depending on your marketing spends. We also work a lot of with a lot of agencies, right? Some of agencies have Uber as customer. So Uber is a very cool case because when do you need an Uber? You need an Uber actually in a more traveling situation. So either you're traveling for leisure, so it's more on the hotel side, a very, very cool moment for Uber to catch you and to offer you an Uber, or you need it more, maybe more from a professional perspective, so you can place it more into the B2B segments. Let's say the co-working spaces and the WeWorks. So in the moment when you need to travel from customer to customer, or you have the next business meeting, also here can be in the right moment. So if you're thinking as a marketer or as an agency, where is the right moment for your customer to place their offer? Framen is a revolutionary new concept to bring your brand and your message across the right audiences. Yeah, so the question is, what's next? So introducing the Internet of Screens obviously is now our core mission, to cover as many public screens as possible in potentially every street of the world, in every business and venue location of the world. However, we'll not stop here. So the Internet of Screens is continuing. And for us, especially in such a virtual world, we love the mix between hybrid, let's say virtual and physical. Today, we're focusing on digital screens in physical rooms. But one of the next steps we definitely are working on is digital screens in digital rooms. And this is nowadays more known as a metaverse. So to give you a sneak peek into the future of the Internet of Screens, we are working and talking to some guys which are leading in metaverse and VR gaming or other type of platforms. And you can imagine that the whole metaverse will have rooms. There will be virtual offices, there will be virtual retails, maybe even virtual gyms and other venues that you can explore. Here you see one of our partners that are testing with us, having BMW as a case, or other cases like Coldplay concerts. So also virtual rooms might be filled with brands and brands messages. And this will be very important. Some of the cases we have seen gamers playing at the same time, being online on Twitch, reaching millions of people. So how do you want to measure a BMW creative inside of the metaverse that was not shown to one person, was just actually shown to millions of persons? One too many calculation and all these estimations, how big was the branding impact? This is something what is Freeman's core expertise, and we will foster it in the real world, but also in the digital world. So sign up today, super simple. Just go on freeman.com and click the button, create a campaign. There's a free sign up. You can play around. There's nothing to lose. You will see how the ads manager very easily will show you the screens, the impressions. And as soon as we have the metaverse, which we consider is a different world, you might also find that in the ads manager. Whatever will come, we are ready for that. So our team is right now around 100 top talents from the industry. We have people that have worked previously at Google, that have worked at Uber, that have worked at any type of cool global tech startup or big brand. Super international. And this is also a call and reach out to anybody who is not sure how his future looks like, but has a strong passion into marketing. Reach out to us. We have also a career page. So if you want to hang out with the next big TikTok, you definitely should consider Freeman. That's the concept of Internet of Screens. We're not that old yet, 4 years, not even, but soon. And we hope in the next 2-3 years to really scale up and prove you that the Internet of Screens is not just a dream, but will become part of the internet in your daily life. Thank you so much for your attention. I'll quit the presentation right now and check whether some questions already arrived, and also handing over to the moderator back.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you so much, Dimitri. That was amazing. I mean, I hadn't really thought about this topic, the idea of screens as opposed to computers, watches, mobile phones. And it's kind of, I mean, I was thinking as on the way through that, it's kind of a throwback to the 90s and the 80s when it was kind of guesstimates about audience. How would you counter that? I'm sorry to start with such a tough question, but I remember publications would say that we have 1 million readership, and they would estimate 5,000 people would read each one in a doctor's office. And it all kind of didn't really make sense. And we were so happy to end up with the engagement metrics of clicks and impressions. Kind of we're moving back to that, but you've obviously got some, counter arguments. The QR code is a brilliant one. What other arguments have you got? What other explanations have you got to get that audience and to make sure that people are engaging and actually getting value?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for the question. So there are two types of review processes in order to validate the amount of people and impressions. One is before the screen gets even online. So this is a due diligence process that we do with every location. You know, I've spent too many years at Deutsche Bank, and inside of Deutsche Bank, as many banks, there's a know your customer process. So nobody gets a banking account if we don't know you, right? So we want to know, where is the screen? How much people do you have? How much members do you have actively in your gym? How many people are coming to which times, morning, lunchtime, evenings, Saturday, Sunday. And we want the proofs. We want to see if you really have this amount of people. Some locations are super digital. Let's take the Vivo co-working spaces. People are swiping their card to enter the location, to exit the location. Even if they're just going to toilet, they are again swiping to enter the location. You know, we get footfall reports. We don't just know how many people are coming in and out. Sometimes we know even what type of companies work inside of these offices. Okay, so this is review processes before they go live. Then we have discussed this QR code topic. That's a continuous validation, and over time series with with some mathematical statistics, we can obviously extrapolate and say if there's 50 clicks or scans per hour or per day, right? We already can have these different, but some of our advertisers really want to have real-time measurement on top of that. For example, we had a lot of campaigns last year with WhatsApp. So WhatsApp wanted to push the brand to show their encryption, their security inside. So they were concerned maybe a bit about the user experience in the last months. So they were pushing a lot of branding campaigns over Framen. But Meta itself is super digital. Like they, if not Facebook, right? Who is more digital than them? So they put on top a real-time measurement of mobile data of specific audiences. So the clip of WhatsApp was only fired in these time slots when they could prove an audience between 25 and 35 moving in that geolocation. Okay, so and there was also some, let's say, latency to make sure it's not just a car that passed by outdoor and is waiting at a traffic light, So there was a very complex mobile plus Framen targeting in order to make this measurement as precise as possible.
Brilliant. Yeah, I was talking to Chris Liversidge, who's a massive statistician measuring things, and he was talking about mapping offline and online together and just how accurate that can be. He was talking about, I think it was British Telecom, who've got a different name now, BT, I think it's called. And he was talking about, because of the massive data they have, they can actually extrapolate the online to the offline and vice versa incredibly accurately. You're going down that path, from what I understand?
Well, we're coming a bit, let's say, from the traditional industry, and all your examples are absolutely right. So the outdoor industry, outdoor advertising, or professionally out of home, right, is an industry that exists for hundreds of years. Okay, if not one of the first advertising mediums. Okay, the problem in this industry was nobody really tried to bring that into a digital area on the eye level with mobile and desktop. So traditional billboards are very strong in paper, posters, and they were made once per year a measurement, clicking, the amount of people passing by the billboard, and this was a standard for years then, and nobody did a second measurement. So sitting on these old processes, but not trying to implement the new digital topics, made the split even bigger over the last 10, 20 years. And as many startups are coming with a disruptive idea and bringing new technology and disruptive processes to incumbent industries, right? Let's say fintechs. So many fintechs really force banks to bring cool mobile banking experience to their customers. The fintechs force them actually to change the processes. And this is what Frame is also doing. We're pushing the outdoor industry, but not only, we're also helping the digital marketer to find an easier bridge into that old industry that's so hard to understand. Now, let's say the gap is much smaller than before.
Right. Yeah, that's a really interesting point. I mean, the thing is, human beings, we kind of go from one extreme to the other. And I remember at the beginning of the noughties, 1998, I started on the internet. We were so pleased with the clicks and impressions and the proof. And then that quickly backfired on us when the click rate went down, when people got used to the technology and the
Hmm.
interface. And it seems to be now kind of like switching back, but we're now able to make that connection, which is incredibly interesting. And that brings me to my next question, which is about originality. The
Hmm.
clicks we were measuring, and people were clicking on these banner ads, those awful banner ads from the beginning of the noughties, because they hadn't seen them before. It was new, and they were wondering kind of what was going on. They're going, "Oh, this is interesting and new," and that very quickly kind of died off. And you have a situation now where you've got that originality. Is that an advantage for you moving forwards?
Well, there are a lot of advantages inside of Framework. Well, first of all, um, this way of acquiring public screens is super unique.
Yeah.
The traditional way is I buy the TV, it's my TV. I
Mm,
will try to convince the city of New York to
mm,
put my billboard in the roadside. I'm paying the New York state of New York money to get that space for 1 to 5 years. And I'm trying to monetize the screen.
mm,
This is the traditional way. While we have more that Uber style of getting the hardware, so we don't own the TVs, but we are the technology connecting the screens. And we don't think there's a lack of screens in the world.
no.
We actually think there are a lot of screens,
Mm,
but they're not talking to each other, right? The screen in a bar is not talking to the screen in a gym. And why should they talk?
mm,
But Freeman is now creating that community, that internet of screens. It's almost like WhatsApp on every phone makes people connecting to each other, right? So this is the same logic behind, and the traditional industry is not doing that. We became specialist and one of the best and fastest growing company in this segment.
mhm.
Uh, we have a lot of inquiries every day, thousands of screens that like the queue is very long. That we need to become faster on going online, to be honest. But this is also part of the scaling that we're now experiencing, but also making sure that we give marketers the minimum standards they expect when they spend marketing budgets on behalf of their advertisers, right?
Mhm.
But on the other side, this is a great first mover opportunity for every startup, for every marketing agency to not be the next SEO expert, the next Facebook expert, right? Literally having a new tool,
Mm.
super powerful, to push brands, push their products, have a very cool new story also to their advertisers and customers, right? With the right digital tools like the Frame and Ads Manager. And yeah, I hope I could answer your questions. What are the USPs and so far?
Yeah, no, brilliant. And the ads interface that you've built, how much of a challenge was that? I mean, I would imagine that's quite a big chunk of infrastructure you've had to build. And you were saying it was just as quick as making an omelette.
Yeah.
Making it incredibly effective and efficient. Look, two questions then. A, how much of a challenge was it? And B, well, in fact, three, how successful were you? I would imagine very. And C, how much of a difference does it make making it incredibly simple? I've tried using Facebook ads. I just give up. It's too complicated.
Yeah. So you definitely, guys, I see still 77 watching, so we didn't even drop in numbers. Pass by our booth. Fremd is golden sponsor of this event. We have a great team that will guide you through the ads manager. I swear it will not take longer than 60 seconds to set up a campaign. And we're all experienced marketers. We have all experienced the complexity of Facebook Ads Manager, and we tried really to bring to the most important points that you want to know. Where do you want to advertise in terms of regional aspect? Where is it more a German campaign, a more Italian company? So it's very similar also in the ads manager of any other ads manager.
Mm,
So you start first the country. So you know the country, awesome. Next, do you know your audience? If you know the audience, which means salary, age, male, gender, all these metrics, we really try to keep it to the minimum. And some locations can tell us a lot about the demographics. I want to again highlight, what's the difference between a hostel, low budget, maybe a bit more younger, and a 5-star Marriott hotel, right? So this is how we can make a difference by salary already. And then combining that in the right context. So people in working mode or people are in sports mode. So this is then the venue. We have a separation in the daily spend or runtime spend. Either, I'm spending like $10 per day, very small budget, A/B testing, or you already know my advertiser wants a 10,000 campaign, 5,000 campaign, right? So you can also set a runtime budget. And you're ready to go. Just upload the creatives. You will see how simple it is. Of course, some professionals, they want more advanced features. And for those ones who are using, for example, DSPs, like the Trade Desk, Active Agent, and others, this is special talk. Come to the booth. We're also compatible with many other DSPs, and definitely just ask your professional questions.
Right, brilliant. And I have a question about the content, the visuals themselves. Are they purely image based, or are they text and image based and video?
Thanks for asking. Well, we all know video works best. The real life is also a very dynamic thing, right? People are moving. It's like something happening, you get the attention. If it's static, you might not notice it. So almost all our creatives are video, right? It's a small video clip. You might remember the Porsche clip. Well, this is a very professional film thing, right? Cinema quality, cinematic advertisement. But some of our advertisers just use a 10 seconds small slide animation. Let's say a Coke is fading in and you see maybe a call to action, right? So video 10 seconds, and we stick to the standards. Either it's like YouTube, 16:9, or it's like Instagram stories, so 9:56. So horizontal and vertical, best case both, 10 seconds, and you're good to go.
Brilliant. Okay. And the vertical version is shown on a horizontal screen, or have you got vertical screens and horizontal screens? I had imagined everything was the 16:9.
So unfortunately, some people like to hang up the screens like in the living room in the landscape mode, but some businesses, you also will see them in portrait mode. And portrait mode is very cool. The bigger the screen, the better you can show the human shape. Right? Because humans itself are more portrait than landscape, right? Most people, right?
Yeah.
So our app makes sure that your verticals will also be shown on verticals. Yeah. So you don't need to worry. But if you just provide, for example, a landscape, we also will exclude those screens that are vertical. It will decrease a bit your potential impressions, right? And the potential venues. That's why we always recommending both. But we're not reinventing the wheel. Like, every marketer knows that both formats are pretty standard nowadays on social media and other platforms.
Brilliant. Wonderful. And we're coming towards the end here now, and we've got a minute and a half left. I mean, what incredibly important message from your perspective have you got to kind of share about the platform, the performance of the platform, and the validity of the platform moving forwards for brands who really want to get out in the real world, as it were?
Yeah. Well, it's very important, of course, to have different marketing channels. Especially for those ones who have not just born with Facebook. Brands have been also very successful in the past. So make always sure that your marketing channels are a bit diverse. Figure out what's your kind of sweet spot online on social media. But if you have the feeling that it's not performing anymore, like you cannot put unlimited budget on Facebook, there will be a limitation after specific spend, then try maybe branding on top, because branding will also help you to get more organic people coming to you, even when you turn off your performance, right? people might still come back because they remember you and you created a brand. And many companies, unfortunately, because of the complexity of outdoor, are going to grow their brands when they are having big budgets. The problem of big budgets means not everybody has the big budgets. Now, Framen becomes the first operating system to build brands even with small budgets.
Absolutely brilliant. And building brand is vital in the modern world of business. And the idea that as a small brand I can do that is incredibly attractive. Thank you so much, Dimitri. That was absolutely brilliant. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We're going to be moving on in a moment to Martin Grief. And he's going to be talking about how selfish are you? And I think the answer for most of it is probably very. So thank you once again, Dimitri. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Countdown, please do join us for the next session. See you in a moment over there. Thanks a lot, everyone. Bye-bye, Dimitri.
Bye-bye.
Brilliant.